A 250-acre and fourth-generation sheep and beef cattle farm. Black Hills is unique in the way it captures the essence of the property's history. The pioneer cottage and stables have all been restored. Meet Beverly Forrester, the lady behind this hidden gem.
Well, this is the cottage where Jim's great-grandmother, she was born in here on the 10th of May 1892.
Beverly's husband Jim is the fourth generation of the family, who arrived from Kilsyth in Scotland. After he passed away in 1997, Beverly's taken over the reins of looking after the property.
But the buildings were actually all from up on the hill here, the limestone, and that was rolled down and it was bullocked across the creek.
The cottage took almost 9 years to restore and is still an ongoing project. It's filled with historical gems. From these old clothes to what their ancestors carried with them when they first arrived in New Zealand.
Jim's great-grandfather, he arrived out from Kilsyth. It took 3 months to come out by ship, and he arrived at Lyttelton on the 24th of November 1864 and climbed over the hill like many of those folk did in those days. And these putties here are actually the ones in the photograph here. But he arrived with this carpet bag.
And hidden in the cottage is the crafts of the old days. So what have we got in here?
So this is the sewing machine that was used by the Robert Forrester, his wife Louisa, from 1876, and she sewed all the clothing and everything, you know, for the family using this. And then it was used by her daughter Nellie, and then she made good use of it, and the granddaughter May. So in the 1900s, that machine, from Hiranui School, 1900, this was the sampler that was actually made on that machine.
But Black Hills isn't all about the historical value of the property. It's the means for running Beverly's business. This was her entry at the 2013 New Zealand Fashion Week. Each item in the Riverina brand made of wool, which comes courtesy of these guys. These are the sheep you use for all your wool and things like that, aren't they?
All these sheep are natural coloured, they are chemical free, free range, and the wool is all undyed. There's no chemicals in the scouring or anything to produce the yarn, which we then go on to produce the garments.
Each of these Corriedale and Romney sheep, an example of Beverly's passion and genetics. She breeds the sheep to create a wide range of colours in the wool, which makes her a force to be reckoned with, even at the local AMP shows. Won lots of awards, I see.
Oh yes, I was a bit fortunate that day.
A humble answer. Beverly's taken out runner-up in the New Zealand Enterprising Rural Women Award, winner of the Continental Niche Marketing Award and Business Network Award at the New Zealand Businesswoman of the Year.
It's always just, you know, to get them, that's the major thing, and if you get I always think if you get a prize, it's a bonus.
These awards plaster the inside of the woolshed, another part of Black Hills that's been restored to its former glory, including the posts that hold it up.
We use a lot of timber off the farm here to restore everything too. So we just tried to make it all as authentic as possible, using our own resources really.
This becomes the hub of activity once a year when it's time for the sheep to shed their coats. How often do you shear the sheep in here?
The sheep are shorn once a year, usually pre-lamb shorn, and you can get about 100 into this shed, which is good. So from there, where everything gets shorn, we come around into here.
A showroom of what is produced.
So here we've got all of the yarn that comes straight from the sheep. Now this is the Murret coloured wool, which is the double recessive gene. It's not the white, it's not the black, it's the brown.
Spun at times by hand, but mostly commercially. It's all done locally in Burnham and Milton. And it goes from these into garments?
Into garment, yes, children's garments that we've got. We've got children, and just using the natural colours. And we've written all the knitting patterns for these.
And are these what are sold overseas as well?
Yes, sold overseas, sold here in New Zealand. But we've written all the knitting patterns also so that people can, knit their own.
By overseas, she means this boutique business has branched out. In 2009, Black Hills opened a shop in Henley on the Thames in England, which catapulted this historical farm and way of making garments into the 21st century.
You'd think that people would want to go to the shops, but no, they're buying it more online. Delivered to the door, and you've just got to follow what the customer's now demanding, really.
Easy peasy for them.
Yes, the customers are more discerning, and that's how they want to access their fibre.
The tour of Black Hills is endless, and the historical value is prominent everywhere you look. So I'm noticing some royalty up on the wall here.
Yes, this is the replica of the garment that I did for Princess Anne, and that was when I actually had the privilege of actually presenting it to her, and the letter that came back from Buckingham Palace after they'd received it.
This property proves, despite the loss of loved ones, family can survive for generations, with success in business along the way.